Welcome back, listeners, to the Before AGI podcast. Another week, another crazy set of AI developments to talk about.
It's wild, right? This week it feels like AI is suddenly everywhere.
It really does. Healthcare, education, even politics. It seems like every field is trying to figure out how to use AI.
And that's kind of the point, isn't it? It's not just about the tech itself, it's about how this tech could reshape how society actually works. We're talking about the stuff that happens before AGI here on the podcast.
Right, before artificial general intelligence.
Exactly. And this week, it feels like we're seeing more and more of those building blocks, those little hints of what a world with powerful AI could look like.
It's exciting. But I guess not everyone shares that excitement. I was reading about a survey from Slack's Workforce Lab.
Oh, yeah, the one where AI adoption at work has kind of stalled out.
That's the one. Why is that happening? I figured businesses would be all about the newest tech.
Seems like a lot of employees are actually kind of nervous about using AI at work.
Nervous? Like how?
They're worried about looking less capable, if their boss knows they're relying on AI. Some are even afraid of being accused of cheating.
I hadn't thought about that. That makes sense, though. So how do we fix that? How do we make sure AI is used ethically and responsibly?
That's the big question. We'll definitely keep talking about that here on the Before AGI podcast as things keep changing. But for now, how about we dig into some of the stories that really stood out this week?
Yeah, let's do it. Some of these were pretty wild, like that whole Dawn bot thing.
Oh, you mean the AI chatbot designed to stand in for a congressional candidate?
Yeah. If the candidate couldn't show up to a debate, the bot would take his place.
Pretty crazy, right? And it makes you think, is this the future of politics? What even is authenticity in a world with AI this good? These are the kind of questions we need to be asking, especially now, before we hit AGI.
Definitely. Okay, then there's Daisy, which I have to admit I kind of love. The AI granny designed to waste scammers' time.
Ah, yes, Daisy. Brilliantly simple, really.
Right. It leans into those stereotypes about older folks not being good with technology, keeps those scammers on the phone for like 40 minutes.
And that does two things. It protects potential victims, and it gathers data about how scammers operate, so we can use that to stop future scams.
Double win. And that reminds me that we've also got some ethical concerns this week. There's that lawsuit against OpenAI.
With Elon Musk claiming the technology is dangerous, right?
Yeah.
It ties into that whole debate about AI safety and how we govern this stuff, a debate we've definitely had before on this podcast. And then there's the accidental release of OpenAI's O1 model.
The really powerful AI tool that anyone could access.
Makes you wonder, how do we balance incredible AI potential with, the need to develop it responsibly?
Huge question. Like, are there any positive developments on the ethics side of things?
Oh, there are definitely bright spots. There's that story about an AI tool being developed to personalize diabetes treatment.
Oh, how so?
It could analyze an individual's data, their lifestyle, genetics, everything, and come up with a treatment plan tailored just for them. Imagine the possibilities.
Wow, that would be amazing.
Right. It shows how AI can truly be a force for good, for positive change. It's not all doom and gloom. And welcome back
to the Before AGI podcast.
Before we jump back into all the crazy AI news from this week,
Yeah.
I thought it might be helpful to, actually explain what a neural network is, since we keep mentioning them.
Right.
It's easy to get lost in the stories and forget about the tech behind it all.
Absolutely. So neural networks.
Basically, you can think of them like a digital brain.
A digital brain.
Yeah. Like loosely modeled after how our own brains work, with all those interconnected neurons. Well, neural network is kind of like that. It's a complex web of nodes that process information and can learn from data.
So these neural networks, they're what power a lot of the AI we're talking about.
Exactly. Okay, now back to that potential slowdown in AI improvement we were talking about. What do you think is causing it?
Good question. Maybe we're hitting the limits of the current deep learning algorithms.
That's one possibility. Like, these algorithms are powerful, but they might be hitting a ceiling in terms of how much they can learn from data. Like, you can only squeeze so much juice out of a lemon.
So does that mean progress is going to stop completely?
Not necessarily, but it might mean we need some fresh ideas, some new approaches to keep pushing things forward.
Like a paradigm shift in AI research.
Exactly. We might need to rethink how we approach artificial intelligence altogether.
Wow, that's kind of exciting, right? Like the field is still wide open.
Definitely. And that's what makes this so fascinating, especially for you guys, our listeners, who are following along on this journey with us. And despite this possible slowdown, there are still some amazing things happening. Remember, Quen 2.5 Math.
The neural network we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Well, this system is super interesting because it's designed specifically for solving math problems and writing code.
Whoa! AI that can do math. That's next level. What does that mean for stuff like, I don't know, scientific research or software development?
The possibilities are huge. Imagine AI helping scientists analyze tons of data, to speed up discoveries, or helping developers write better code, leading to more innovative and reliable software.
It's like we're on the verge of a whole new wave of AI-powered innovation. But like we've been saying, we got to be careful with this power, right? Remember that story about the parents suing the school?
Over an AI cheating allegation. Yeah, definitely.
It really highlights the ethical questions we need to be asking.
Absolutely. It also brings up another crucial point, which is the need for transparency. Like, can we understand how AI makes decisions, especially important ones?
Right, especially decisions that could, really impact people's lives. It's not enough for AI to be powerful, it needs to be accountable too.
And that's a big part of what we do here on the Before AGI podcast, right? We explore not just the tech, but also the ethics, the social impact, the philosophy of it all.
Exactly. And speaking of philosophical stuff, remember that trend of using AI companions to combat loneliness?
Yeah, fascinating, right?
Makes you think about what human connection really means.
Yeah.
Can you really have a meaningful relationship with an AI?
Big questions.
Yeah.
Can AI provide genuine emotional support? How does this affect our relationships with other humans?
It's a whole new world, and we need to tread carefully.
Agreed. We need to embrace the good while being aware of the potential downsides. And that's what we encourage you, our listeners, to do as well. Think critically, ask questions, and really engage with this stuff.
Well said. Okay, now let's switch gears a bit and talk about AI in art and creativity.
Ah, yes, that's been a hot topic lately. We're seeing AI create stunning paintings, write music, even compose poetry and screenplays.
It's amazing, but it also makes you wonder, is this real creativity, or is AI just mimicking what it's learned from us?
Right, like if an AI creates a beautiful painting, who's the real artist? The AI or the person who programmed it? These are deep questions that philosophers and artists are wrestling with right now.
There are no easy answers, but it's a fascinating debate to follow. Speaking of fascinating, what about those AI agents we've been hearing about?
Ah, yes. AI systems that can operate on their own, learn from experience, and adapt to new situations. Pretty mind-blowing.
It is. Imagine AI managing your schedule, booking your travel, even handling your finances, and getting better at it over time.
Right, like a super efficient personal assistant. But of course we have to ask, what are the risks? How do we ensure these AI agents act ethically? How do we prevent them from being misused?
Again, it comes back to AI safety and ethics.
Absolutely. As we move closer to the possibility of AGI, these questions become even more critical.
Speaking of which, that lawsuit against OpenAI keeps expanding, raising more concerns about data privacy and potential misuse of AI.
Elon Musk is really pushing that narrative that OpenAI isn't doing enough to protect user data. It highlights the need for more transparency and accountability from these AI companies.
Yeah, it's a reminder that AI can be used for good or bad. We have to be cautious.
Absolutely. This lawsuit also raises questions about regulation. How do we balance supporting innovation while also managing the risks?
It's a tough balance, that's for sure. We need policymakers, industry leaders, and the public to work together on this.
Couldn't agree more. But hey, let's not get too bogged down in the negative. Remember that AI tool for personalized diabetes treatment?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Right. Personalized medicine powered by AI could completely revolutionize healthcare.
Imagine a world where AI helps us prevent diseases, create better treatments, and live longer, healthier lives.
That's the dream. But we got to be realistic too, right? There are always potential downsides to consider.
Definitely. We need to approach AI in healthcare and every other field with a critical eye, balancing the excitement with a healthy dose of caution.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that's what we encourage you, our listeners, to do. Stay engaged, stay informed, and keep asking those tough questions.
Exactly. Okay, moving on to something that's really captured the imagination lately. Those AI-powered virtual beings.
Oh, yeah, like digital representations of people that can interact with us in a super realistic way.
It's wild. We're seeing them pop up everywhere, from entertainment to customer service to education.
Imagine like a virtual customer service rep that actually understands what you need and responds in a natural way.
Or a virtual tutor that can personalize your learning experience.
Yeah.
But what does this mean for how we see ourselves? for our sense of reality. As these virtual beings get more advanced, more lifelike, will we even be able to tell the difference between the digital world and the real world?
Those are some deep questions. Questions we'll definitely keep exploring here on the Before AGI podcast. Okay, what about AI in music? That's been blowing my mind lately.
Right. AI composing original music, helping human composers, even creating personalized soundtracks based on what you like.
It's incredible. But does that mean AI is going to replace musicians and composers?
Another big debate. Some say AI can't capture the soul, the emotion of human creativity.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out as AI keeps evolving. For now, let's just appreciate the amazing music that AI is helping to create.
Absolutely. Oh, and speaking of breaking down barriers, AI-powered language translation is getting ridiculously good.
Imagine a world where language is no longer a barrier to communication. AI could help people from different cultures connect and understand each other so much better.
But could that also lead to problems? Like, could these tools be used to spread misinformation or propaganda? Could they end up homogenizing cultures?
Those are important things to think about. We got to be mindful of the potential downsides, even as we celebrate the positive.
No doubt. Okay, let's talk about something that's got a lot of people worried. AI taking our jobs.
Yeah, the whole automation thing. AI is definitely changing the workplace, automating tasks that humans used to do.
And people are worried about losing their jobs. Some even think AI will replace human workers entirely. Is that going to happen? Or could AI actually lead to a better work experience for humans?
It's a huge question, and the answer is probably somewhere in between. AI will disrupt the job market for sure, but it could also create new opportunities and improve working conditions.
It's a complex issue that we need to address head on, making sure everyone benefits from AI, not just a select few. Speaking of which, how about AI in education?
Oh, yeah. AI tutors are getting really advanced. They can personalize lessons, adapt to each student's needs, and give instant feedback.
That could revolutionize how we learn, make it more engaging, effective, and accessible for everyone.
But it also raises questions about the role of teachers. Will AI eventually replace them? Or will it just enhance what they do, letting them focus on the more creative and personal aspects of teaching?
Again, lots to consider as we integrate AI into our schools.
Absolutely. And it's not just education that's changing. Facial recognition technology is everywhere now, and it's raising a lot of concerns about privacy and surveillance.
It's being used for security, law enforcement, marketing, even personalized experiences. But it could also be misused, leading to discrimination and a loss of privacy.
We need careful regulation to make sure this powerful technology is used ethically and responsibly.
No doubt. It's a reminder that every technological advancement comes with both benefits and risks.
And that's exactly why we do what we do here on the Before AGI podcast. We explore the complexities of AI, discuss the potential upsides and downsides, and help you, our listeners, navigate this exciting and rapidly changing world.
Wow, it's amazing to think about how AI is changing so many things. We've talked about AI in politics, art, even our personal lives.
Yeah.
But what about science? How is AI impacting scientific discovery?
That's a great question. AI is already having a huge impact on science. It's helping scientists analyze huge amounts of data, find patterns, even come up with new hypotheses. It's like speeding up the whole process of discovery.
So like a super-powered research assistant for scientists.
Exactly. Think about fields like medicine, using AI to develop new cures for diseases, or climate science, where AI could help us understand and predict the effects of climate change. The potential is incredible.
It's exciting to think about how AI could help us tackle those big challenges. But we've also talked about the potential downsides, like bias in AI systems.
Right, that's a real concern. If an AI system is trained on data that reflects existing biases, it can end up perpetuating those biases, even making them worse.
So it's like a vicious cycle. Biased data leads to biased AI, which then leads to biased decisions in the real world.
Exactly. We need to be really careful about the data we use to train AI systems. We need diverse, representative data and ways to detect and fix bias in the algorithms themselves.
It's a tough problem, but it's something we have to solve if we want AI to benefit everyone. Okay, switching gears a bit, what about AI in cybersecurity?
AI is becoming essential for cybersecurity. It helps us detect and respond to threats much faster and more effectively. We're seeing it in antivirus software, intrusion detection systems, fraud prevention, all sorts of things.
So AI is like a digital guardian, constantly watching out for cyber attacks.
That's a good way to put it. And as cyber attacks get more sophisticated, AI is becoming even more important in the fight against cybercrime.
But couldn't AI also be used by the bad guys? Like to launch even more sophisticated attacks?
That's definitely a risk. Cybersecurity experts are constantly working to stay ahead of the curve. It's an arms race, and AI is a powerful weapon on both sides.
It's like AI is both the shield and the sword in this new era of cybersecurity. Okay, this next topic is a bit heavier, but it's something we need to talk about. AI in autonomous weapons systems. What some people call killer robots.
Yeah, that's a tough one. There's a lot of debate about the ethics of developing weapons that can make life or death decisions without human control.
Honestly, it's a terrifying thought. Machines deciding who lives and who dies.
It's a serious issue, for sure. Some people say these weapons would violate international law and put civilians at risk. Others argue that they could actually make warfare safer by being more precise, reducing casualties.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers. But it's a conversation we need to have as a society.
Absolutely. It shows why it's so important to talk about the ethical implications of AI. We need to make sure AI is used for good, not for harm.
And that brings us back to what we do here on the Before AGI podcast. We explore the world of AI before the arrival of AGI, talking about the potential benefits and risks, and encouraging these important conversations about the future we want to create.
Right. The future of AI isn't set in stone. It's up to us to shape how this technology develops and make sure it's used responsibly.
So as we wrap up this week's deep dive, let's recap some key points. First, AI is already here. It's not some far-off future thing. It's changing our lives right now in so many ways.
Second, AI development is happening incredibly fast. We need to stay informed, keep learning about these advancements.
And finally, the future of AI is in our hands. We need to stay engaged, have these conversations, and push for AI development that benefits all of humanity.
Exactly. By staying informed and being part of the discussion, we can help guide AI in a positive direction.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Before AGI podcast. We'll see you next week for another deep dive into the world of AI.